Welcome back. This is the Challenge 4 answer video of the Snake Game project. In this video, I'll be showing you step by step how I completed this challenge. Alright, let's get started coding. For this challenge, what we wanted to do was take our first light and put it on the bottom, and then take our last light and put it at the top. Alright, so to do that, since we're working with arrays and objects inside of our arrays, what we can use is we're familiar with push where we add elements to the end of an array. So that's our push. We can also pop elements off the end of our array. And then we can also unshift, which adds elements to the beginning of an array, and shift, which removes the first element of an array. Alright, so let's declare some variables right quick. So we know that we want to grab the last light, and we want to pop that off because our last light is at the end of an array. So that's going to be pop. So let's call lights array dot pop. Alright, now let's do first light. And then this one is going to be shift because we want to shift it off the beginning of our array. Now what we want to do is push our first element into the array and then unshift our last element into our array. So let's call our array, so lights array dot unshift, and then we're going to give it a value of last light, and then we're going to call lights array again dot push, and we're going to give it first light. Alright, so let's save this and see what it looks like in our browser. And doesn't look like it's doing anything. Let's go ahead and do a couple console.logs. And I'm going to give the first one last light. And the other one first light. Now let's open up our developer tools and refresh. Alright, so it looks like it's working, but if you notice for the Y, we have red, and Y is 6. So we have Y right here, and it's 6, and the color is red. And then for green, it's 4. So it's actually doing what we want it to, but the only problem is that we're not changing the Y value. So for this to move down here and this to move up here, we need to be changing this Y value. So this one would become 6 and this one would become 4. Alright, so one thing that we can do for this is we can declare a new variable up here. I'm going to call this one ny. And I want to make it equal to my lights array and pass it in an index of 0 dot y. So that way we're grabbing that y, or for in this case 4. So let's come down here, and what we can do is call first light dot y, and it's going to equal last light dot y. So with lastLight.y, what we're doing is, since we're popping it off, we're grabbing the object that we're popping off and setting it to last light. So then when we come down here, we're going to set first light to last light, and we're giving it the y value. So that way last light is 6, and then now it's going first light is going to be 6. Alright, so then let's go last light dot y equals our variable ny. So now what this is doing is our last light is dot y is going to equal our variable ny, which is our lights array at index 0 dot y. And then what we're going to do is we're going to unshift last light and push first light. Alright, so let's save this. See what this looks like in our browser. And there we go. So our Y's are now switching. If you want to see this in action in the console, you can just come down and do another console.log. Pass in last light, and then console.log first light. And then as you can see, the red now is at y coordinate 4, and green is at 6, and then we switch it back, so green is at 4, red is at 6, and then it constantly switches. Alright, and that will be the end of challenge 4.